Wonderful. Okay, wonderful. Simon, is there any reason you dressing like a frat boy? No, a frat boy is an understatement. You wouldn't get into the frat.
I kind of thought it would be different than like, because I'm working with like blue collar people. I didn't want to come across as like a huge, big salesman guy. But I did start with polos. I
Okay,
should
not bad.
probably go back to them.
Let me just put this link back in the chat. Do, 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 do. I'll deal with that retard in a bit. Wonderful. Now, does anyone have any immediate questions before we begin today's session?
Is it
Yeah.
right to ask one?
So, yes, it's all right to ask
Cool.
one.
In the videos in the Podia thing in the website, in the dental niche, there isn't a script for the cold calling. Would you recommend doing something else or continue cold calling?
No, cold calling is the correct thing to do. We're just getting all of our scripts double checked, so they should be ready
Okay,
here
cool. When sorry you cut out.
end of the week.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Alvaro,
Um, could you
um,
check
um,
could you check one of my calls from Coco?
yes, yeah, put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And Claudia?
When we don't like when we cold call, do we talk about work with other clients and the results that we're getting them, even if we don't have any clients?
Circumstantial.
Sorry?
You don't have to do it every time, but feel free to do it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. Thank you.
Okay, dokie. Yeah, that's fine. Sky, that's perfectly fine. Mehmet.
Yes, Ismail. I just wanted to say, obviously, we come from Zach's program, so the sales script that we were taught and the way we were taught is a bit different to like the way you're doing it. So,
Yep.
like from the courses, where would you say like to start off to like kind of like adapt to your?
So you have to understand that I have a script. It's a behavioral script.
Yeah,
So mine's got nothing to do with the words.
yeah,
So I don't have a specific structure on what to say, when to say it. I have
mm,
the guide on how things look and are structured. Right?
okay,
So as an example, the two people that just spoke now, Alvaro decides to say as though it's a fucking word, and Claudio decides to add a sentence to every sentence that he speaks.
yeah.
Right? So those are the things to focus on because that's what takes away money from people.
So, where can I find this? Where can I find this or learn about it? We'll see.
It will be there won't be one specific guide. We'll go over it today.
Okay,
Right? So I'm gonna put up a Mario go over it today, and then we can do some sales school reviews. Just going to check now. They over here, I'm gonna answer questions, go through Alvaro's dog shit cold calling, explain why his tonality is wrong, his phrasing is wrong, and how he structures what he says and doesn't have any value behind it. That's my prediction. And then we get into it on a Mario board.
all right.
Adrian,
Yeah, my camera's off because I'm cooking because I'm broke. But my question is, are we going over any laws today?
yes, we're going over laws. You're cooking because you're broke.
Correct.
I don't know how that maths, but feel free to keep your camera off.
I need a chef.
What are you cooking?
Pork chops.
That's disgusting. Fine.
Thanks.
Jonathan,
Hi. With the sales call,
can we stop?
sometimes when,
Yes, please. It's not a fucking word. Can we stop saying
sorry,
Thank you.
uh, sorry, when clients don't want to turn on their camera on the sales call, how do we get like what are some ways where we can get them to turn on the camera without, being too intrusive?
You don't need their cameras to be on. You then don't push for it because it doesn't make the biggest difference, right? It just
Yeah.
helps. The reason I like cameras on is it helps me read people because I can see how they react to what I say, especially when I'm trying to trigger specific things from them.
Yeah.
However, it's not necessary. You then have a choice of one of two things. Keep your camera on. Like, I would keep my camera on. Firstly, look at myself. Why not? Right? Secondly, I'm able to control my frame and utilize that to my advantage.
Yeah.
Because then I'm going to an extent, exaggerate how much control I have and what I'm trying to portray, which just works in my favor, or just turn off the camera.
Yeah. Thank you.
And you can comfortably close with no camera. Wonderful. And now we're going to have 3 questions from people who haven't raised a hand. We're going to kick it off with iPad.
Right. What you're on a question, right?
Yes, I want a question.
Well, I've been having a bit of problems just in general, not just today, with getting past gatekeepers, especially when like my niche is med spas, and a lot of the time the person I'm looking to speak to is like with patients, which makes it quite difficult. And then when they say call back, I'm immediately always on the back foot by saying like trying to figure out a time, which is good. Is there a better way to approach it where I can come across as more in control and not kind of just begging for them to give me a time?
You need to come across as an asshole. That's the best one that works, right? At the same time, you definitely need to get your numbers up. For med spa, you need to be doing about 6 at max level, 600 calls a day. How many are you doing right now?
Not 600, but
6
we can change that. Yeah.
600 will get you 2 appointments on average, right?
Okay.
Wonderful, because it's much easier to close. Med spa people, super easy to close because they have no fucking sales experience. They inject people's face.
Okay. Would you reckon, like a lot of them say follow up with email and we'll get back to you? Is it even worthwhile?
Give me to Kingston, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Turn on your cameras.
Sorry.
Wonderful, Kingston. Do you have a sales call for us to review? Kingston, do you have a sales call for us to review?
Don't.
Such a shame. I was about to rip you a new one for burping like that. Disgusting. Lost my train of thought there. Where was I? Yes, gatekeepers. It's all about numbers, and your goal is to keep calling to get to the owner because you will bump into the owner. Right
Okay.
now, someone's happy to hand you over to the owner. Fucking lucky you. But your goal is to hit high numbers and get people to speak to the and just bump into the owner by accident.
Okay, I was speaking to one of your guys yesterday. He said to build like a mega CRM pipeline where you just transfer them, like so you just call them every day for 7 days, or like
That's called the tank pipeline. Right?
Okay.
And you basically tell them, no worries, I'll call back tomorrow. And you learn the people's names, and it's nice and simple. It's a pipeline 7 days long. When you get someone's name, you put the name, put it on the notes. Then tomorrow you call them back. Hey, Sharon, me again. As I said, need the owner. How's your day going? And you just build that up, right?
Yeah.
I had to do that method, where it's just 7 days across, and you come across as I'm keeping calling until I want your business. Now the reason that this works, so there's been companies that owe me money, right? And it's like decent sum, so I want my money. Now,
Me?
no, not fucking you, Ruben.
Dude.
What on earth is this interruption? Ruben, turn on your camera. 3, 2, 1. So, company owes me money, and I'm trying to email, do this, do that, right? Then I realize, fuck, this is a waste of my time. So what I do is I set a 10-minute timer that just loops. Yeah, just fucking loops. And verbatim, every 10 minutes, hi, are they here? No, they're here in the afternoon. Okay, I'll call back. Thanks. 10 minutes later. Hi, have they arrived? Yeah, it's me, just calling back. 10-minute timer. And that goes on repeat. Right? Within an hour and a half, I have the owner on the phone. Now, why do I have the owner on the phone?
Just persistence. It shows the if you're that persistent, try to get a hold of them, you're going to be.
I'm now costing him money, right? Normally, when their phone rings, right, it's prospective client, whatever the fuck it may be. But now when I'm calling every 10 minutes, yes, his team's getting annoyed. Their psychology's getting fucked because now there's an asshole that calls every 10 minutes, so they don't think it's money, they think it's the asshole or the money. But the more I call, the more it's the asshole. And then, like clockwork, they call me, Ishmael, you've been trying to reach me. Ah, yes, how are you doing? So on and so forth. You have my money. What are we doing in order to get that into my bank account? Right? But it's because of the straight annoyance. You annoy a business's hotline asking for the owner often enough, you will get the owner. Like verbatim. Now, when they say, why the fuck do you keep calling my business? You say, look, Tompinski, nice and simple. Look how hard I work for my business. So imagine how hard I'm going to work for yours. I need 15 seconds of your time. I've been trying very hard to get it. Can I get 15 seconds? Then you give me a pitch. Right? But it's all about persistence. And when they get fucked off, you tell them nice and simple. Look how hard I work for my business. Imagine how hard I'm going to work for yours. That's a tank method. It's a longer method. That one and aggression, both of them work.
So when you combine them together, kind of just so you do the tank, but you keep saying that I need to.
You can combine them together, yes. That is an option. I just prefer flirting in the metabar niche because it is not my vote.
That's tough though, because they just still say they're not in, they're with patients. So I get the name and then I just dip.
If I'm speaking to a woman, I'm just gonna casually chat. It's a force of habit. Helps with the conversion rate.
But it wastes time, it lowers efficiency.
Depends how good you are.
Fair point. I've got some work to do.
Sammy on.
So I'm in the landscaping niche, and when I was with Zach, he told me that I didn't need a presentation for my sales calls. So should I make a sales call? Or should I make a presentation?
Yes. We have templates for you. Use the templates. The reason
Okay,
that
will do.
is it's showing, not telling, which is much more powerful. When you show them what you do and how good it is, it's much more powerful than telling them it's really good, by the way. Right? Now, you can do it. So there's a thing, one of the laws that I don't teach is called goal closing. I don't teach it. It's too fucking difficult to teach. Right? That law doesn't need a presentation. Goal closing is when you have not sold them anything and they have given you money. Only at a very high level, you're able to do this. This is pretty much when you do an introduction, and once the introduction is done, they pay you, and then they send you a message, by the way, what have I paid for? Very hard to do. Very high level fucking sales. You basically have to tick off 4 or 5 laws in a very short period to a very high level, right? You don't need a presentation in order to convey the value that you're going to bring a company. It's just much easier to do so when you're backed by resources.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make a presentation.
But now, one thing that everyone here on this call, Jess, how are you, love?
Yes, I'm good. How are you?
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
That's wonderful. So, Jess, quick update. You're going to be scheduling calls with everyone on here, plus more people. Jess is going to check that everything is up to standard, your presentations, your outreach, go high level setup, everything. Just we have a tracking sheet.
Yes.
And so make sure that you link your presentation there. We'll give it to Jess. She'll link it. It needs to be up to standard because some of you guys make the fucking worst presentations I've ever seen in my life. It's embarrassing. So the presentations are good on the basis that they work. Make sense? No. Like a perfume will help you on a date, but if it smells like fucking shit, it's not going to help you. It's going to do the opposite. Mehmet.
Yeah, obviously you said earlier to Sam about doing 600 cold calls minimum, but how are people actually hitting that? Because I called today for like about 4.5 hours straight up, and I only done 150.
What's your timer set out to?
What's that?
What's your
Oh,
timer set?
15 seconds, but I do double dials.
So how many calls did you actually do?
150. I done 306. It was 153. I done 306 double dials, but it's 150 people.
There we go. So if you did it in an 8-hour working day, which is a full day, how many would you have hit?
Yeah, 300.
No, including the double dials.
600.
What's
So
that
what,
daily?
you're when you say that you're including double dials, then when you say
No.
you've done no.
That would not include double dials.
Okay.
But somewhere like MedSpa, I wouldn't do double dialing for MedSpa. I would do double dialing for mobile because typically they'll be at the reception door.
No, 'cause I'm in real estate niche anyway, but that's
Real
what I was
estate?
just asking.
Oh no,
Yeah.
fuck no. Real estate you can do a lot more. Real estate's
Yeah.
different. Yeah, real estate's a different beast. You lose so much time on receptionists when it comes to just dealing with calls in MedSpa. You 1,000 plus in
What a
estate,
day.
comfortably. The most I've seen someone do is like 3,200.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like, how the fuck are people hitting that? Because like even if I was to do like 8 hours, I could do like what, like 300,
No, bullshit.
400.
Bullshit. Impossible.
Because I've done 4.5 hours straight today, and I've done only 150 people. Obviously, they're double dials, but
You have to recognize that when it comes to cold calling, any few seconds you take as a break, it all adds up very quickly. 15 seconds is 4 calls a minute if nobody answers. Let's make it 3 and a bit.
yeah.
It's 1 hour. Max amount of calls that you can do with no one answering, that's 180.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just don't waste any time.
Literally, you just fucking press buttons non-stop.
All right.
Right.
Ishmael, on that, sorry. 1 second. Do you have like a automation to set up like a power dialer?
Bloody good at telling me what to do. Maya.
Yeah, so I have a question like, is there a way to see when a number calls me back
Yes.
with a bot to see who is calling me, or is it just number?
You have to connect it to open phone or open dialer. Right? So it's a separate app. Message Zach or just put it on the community. Zach will get back to you. He can help you set that up. And especially when you have clients, what it does, multiple clients, it will tell you the name and the name of the clients. So it's very good for callbacks.
Great, thank you.
Wonderful. By the way, guys, the only reason I kicked him out the call is because he told me what to do. If he asked me, I would have let him. But he told me what to do, and that's unacceptable. No, it doesn't what to do. JT, talk to me. What do you
Great, awesome. So for the real estate niche cold dialing, should I not talk to the receptionist? Like somehow I'll call, there'll be a reception ask me to transfer or
waste your time?
ask me. Waste time. Okay.
Yeah. It takes too long.
Okay. Should I double dial the same person or triple dial it or just dial one person?
When you have open phone connected, real estate is perfect for it because, and this Mehmet, listen. One big thing is real estate agents will call you back. So if you check on your conversations, they all call back because they're all hungry rats in real estate. So connect open data to it. The amount of people that you'll end up speaking to is much higher, right? But now one reason, okay, you guys aren't trained on this. One reason that you guys aren't doing is maximize the amount of calls is because you're being nice humans, right? When someone is not interested, you're listening to the whole fucking spiel of them not being interested, and then you guys are cocks. You're like, thank you very much for your time, or this. You're being nice human beings, right? Anytime I've done cold calling, I hear the hint of they're not interested. Before they tell me they're not interested, I've hung up and I'm calling the next person, right? What the fuck again by hearing someone they're not interested? I understand. Hang up, next person. There was once a time I delayed it a little bit. This lady was in the car with her family, right? And I was on loudspeaker, and she said, "I've been working in this industry for so many." No, she said, "No, that's a lie." She said, "So listen, I'm not going to join up, and let me tell you why." I let her take a breath in, and as she started speaking, I just hung. Yeah, it was wonderful, perfect timing, right? We're not here to make fucking friends. you will lose so many valuable seconds on the people that you can call by just being nice and listening to people reject you. Even if it's a nice, sweet old lady who's just telling you that she's retired, right? Real estate. Mehmet, have you ever heard someone say that they're retired?
Yeah.
The fuck, listen to that. Hang up.
Yeah.
I've been here for 35. Hang up. Call the next fucking person because you're wasting value.
100%.
Too much time is being lost there. Alonso.
Hi. So today I'm gonna make those big calls. I'm gonna tell my clients, look, I'm sending you really good leads. I cannot charge you $5 fucking. I'm gonna start charging you $50. If you don't wanna do a search for them because you're lazy and you want leads to already be interested in your properties, you want literally they told me I want leads to come to me and say, look, I'm already interested in that property. Let's make a visit. I cannot bring you that. So, how can you? How would you say? How would you tell them? Look, I'm gonna have to start charging you this. Can you just remind me of that? I'm gonna do those two calls today.
So I would argue it's too complicated to do because what you're doing is the equivalent of you are the gay friend, right? Like no gay friend. Like you've been friend zoned by all your clients because you're that much of a bitch, right? And then you're gonna go out with your fucking chest like, I want this, I want that. Like, the equivalent to telling a girl, here's a dick. She's gonna tell you to go fuck yourself. So I'm expecting it to use your clients, right? Now the way that you don't use your clients is logically explain it to them. We had an up in quality. This is what we're providing, and as such, this is what we're providing, and this is the monetary value on it. This is the maths that we're doing. As such, listing our price. So you don't come and say, I'm doing this now, I'm charging this. You have to logically explain the market value, what you're providing, why you're charging it. They're happy to leave you your client, and if they'd like to stay, these are the new terms. Right? Then if you want to save to them, tell them that it's going to kick in like 20 days. So everything will remain the same for 20 days, and in the next 20 days, I will try to up the value as much as possible.
2 days. Okay, I paused the campaigns because it's just too many leads. I have like 200 leads to call, so I paused them because I cannot call them all. So I think I might say, look, I'm gonna finish calling all these leads and I'm gonna send it to you, the same $5, whatever. But after that, I'm gonna have to explain them the maths, all that stuff, and then it's gonna be $50. Okay.
Awesome. I mean, Christian.
Do you think I should spend my time talking to gatekeepers for the remodeling niche? Because most of the remodelers who have more than like 30, 40 Google reviews all have gatekeepers, and the owner is typically in the field in the mornings. So should I just not waste my time with gatekeepers?
Are they more often at the office towards the end of the day?
Yeah.
But are they actually?
Or they said just call back in the afternoon, and then I call back in the afternoon, and then they say, oh, he's not in the office.
I would use the tank method.
Oh.
But then I would, on the basis that you're seeing universally that it's always in the afternoon, I would just fuck around with time zones and make sure everyone I'm contacting is always in the afternoon. Or early morning. So I would also try very early morning. There's a high chance I'll be the first in the business, like first walking in. Wonderful. Adrian?
Yeah, my question is, I forgot my fucking question. I'll ask in like 5 minutes.
Thank you, Adrian. Alvaro.
Again, sorry. Okay, so if I connect the phone the phone calls to the GHL. Okay, if I redirect, they charge on the company, not on the GHL. So should I put the redirect to the phone call to the call, but I call back with the GHL? Did I explain?
So what I would do is this is for outreach, yes? If you want to keep it nice and simple, just have two tabs open. One tab is you doing work, the other tab is conversations. On conversations, you can just see when someone calls you back, check that frequently, and then you know when to call people back.
Oh yeah. Okay, and the other one is about the service delivery. Is that okay?
Depends. Let's find out.
Okay. So, what do I do if the prospect says that they are gonna buy at the first of the year, or they are already working temporary with a agent? Should I connect with my client?
Oh, no,
Yeah.
you need nurturing campaign. You can connect them with the clients, let them know the details, and put them on a nurturing campaign as well. So you need a nurturing campaign, and I would also connect them to the client because the client is more likely to close them than you are.
Okay.
But then you have to decide whether or not you're going to charge for that or not charge for it. Which you could have issues because then the client's going to say, "Why are you sending me all like people from too long in the distance?"
Yeah. Right.
Wonderful.
And when would you reject a prospect?
Whenever I want, personally. In regards for you guys, it's when you know that no matter when you know that if you send them gold, they will not close it. You can sign them, take their money, just recognize that it won't be long term.
No, I mean the prospect, not my client, but the prospects of my clients. When I have them from Google, from ads,
Yes.
when would you reject them?
What niche are you
in? Real estate.
How are you transferring over the clients?
With transfer call or booking call?
I wouldn't with any. Real estate is really fucking annoying. You can give a lead and they will close 2 years later. Right? So I wouldn't reject people. The only circumstances is on the basis that's in the wrong area, they're super low budget, or they're working with another agent already. Yeah, those would be the main criterias. So super low budget, working in another area, working with another agent, those are the main criteria. You've got a few others, but then that would also depend on your client.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Last three, and then we're gonna go into some theory. Oh, actually, I wanted.
So, by the way, I sent the call in the chat.
Okay, wonderful. We'll do that just before. Hang on. JT.
Oh, great, awesome. Just to confirm, call each real estate agent just once and just like wait for them to call back, and like every call should take like 15 seconds, or was 3 rings or something like that.
You need to go into Go High Level. Go into your account, so the sub account, go into the settings, phone number. You need to change your phone number to automatically hang up after 15 seconds.
Oh, awesome. Got it.
Wonderful. Mehmet.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask. Obviously, I got my client, but he's got a very low budget. And the reason for that because he was working with some other agency, but he's gonna stop them. But he had a 6 month minimum contract. But the thing is, right now, is I'm barely getting any leads for him, so like it doesn't make sense for me. So what should I say to him in order to get him to hire his budget?
Now, we have to face the truth. Is it a quantity, or is it a quality, or is it both quantity and quality? Now, what I mean by that, have you sent in any good leads?
No, I've received it's been 10 days since I launched campaigns. I've done 3 leads, and all of them have been unqualified. They're literally like someone don't speak English, one don't even know who's calling him. Like,
What are you running? Is it Facebook or Google?
Facebook.
How many ads have you run?
12. 12 with 2 ad sets because the budget is only 250.
A month.
Yeah. 'Cause this guy is new to this guy is not never like closed a deal. He's in real estate. He's never closed a deal, and he's working with 2 other companies, paying them 200 a month. So he's paying like 400 extra a month. So I'm trying to get that over to me.
Now, he's retarded. How much does he make per deal?
He has never made a deal. He's never closed a deal.
On the basis that he closes the deal.
He could probably make around 10 grand. He's in Naples, Florida, so he's in a good area.
So what do you expect from an individual who's willing to put $250 in order to, make 10 grand?
Not much.
However, you should not you should be booking more appointments. You can get the cost per lead in real estate down to $2.
What, even from 250?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
it's pain, it's just hyper testing. It's just relatively slow. What's your current CPL?
It's like $20, something like that.
Okay, now I need you, if you can do it now quickly, I need you to check what is the amount of clicks that you've received versus the amount of forms that have been submitted.
Let me go on Ad Manager real quick.
Check that and I'll come back to you. Adrian, do you remember your question?
Yeah, I remember my question. So circling back, if I'm gonna call with the prospect and they hint at the fact that they're not interested or they say I'm not interested, I'm not trying to get them to change their mind at all.
When it comes to outreach, I do not recommend that you do that due to the fact it's a waste of fucking time. Because outreach, fundamentally, you're not going out to the market saying, come buy. You're coming out to the market saying, who has a problem? That's what outreach is. It's who has a problem. I want to know who I can speak to, who I can help. It's not saying everyone, it's not like the Christians when they're like, we can help everyone, right? Some people are past the point of help. No shots to you, Christian people, but you deserve it. But anyways, it's all about outreach. Yes, it's all about who needs help and not convincing anyone. Because the time that you waste convincing anyone, you could have done more calls. And from a long-term mathematical basis, you'll end up booking more appointments, not trying to convince people. Because you're pretty much trying to say, no, you have a problem. And they're saying, for the fuck I do. And then that's just a waste of everyone's time. Make sense?
Absolutely, thank you.
Any objection on a cold call, hang up, next person. Like, I will take pleasure in just hanging up early on people. Like, you feel bad, just swap that feeling bad too. I take pleasure in this. Mehmet, do we have the answers?
Yeah, so the first one you wanted link clicks, yeah?
Yeah. How many clicks?
So in total, 27. 20
How
from
many-
one ad set, 7 from the other.
How many form fill outs?
3.
9%? Yeah, that's nearly 10% form fill out rate.
Yeah.
Test the ads. But yeah, also are you testing the forms?
The forms, no. I've only just got 1 form for buyers, 1 form for sellers.
How the fuck do you know it's a buyer or a seller who's filling out the form?
Well, obviously, like not like that, but obviously I've made like a certain ad set for buyers that are targeted more to buyers, like with the copy, and that
That's
ad set.
a house. People are gonna look pretty your house, click the fucking button.
Yeah, but you said, but yeah.
You don't do forms by buyer or seller. Do forms by simple form, complex form, and then you can have a buyer and you can have a seller, but the best is a simple form. When you hyper target it to buyers and they're looking to sell, you've just lost people and vice versa.
Okay. So like a simple form with a generalized.
At the same time, your client's ad budget is $250.
Yeah. So what should I say to him to hire that then?
By the way, why are you in real estate? Can we swap your niche?
Why?
Real estate's a bitch of a niche.
So what would you recommend?
Honestly, even though you're a very bearded fellow, I think you'd find med spa very easy.
Med spa?
No, super fucking like, now guys, this does not apply to everyone. Yeah. But recommend you find them super easy to close.
What is that, just because of my personality or what?
Personality wise. You find like you would look at them as stupid creatures.
Okay. So what are you saying, to go to med spas instead of
I'm
real
not
estate?
I'm not saying definitely go into it.
But think about it.
You have the sales skills to recognize that they're all shit at sales.
Okay.
And the substantive is much easier than the other niches.
Mm.
Roofing a little bit more difficult, but nonetheless. Like real estate is one of the few niches where people are trained on sales. They're all shit. But they go to sales seminars. So the classic stuff doesn't work.
Well, see, with med spas, if I was to go to that, it's just gonna be dealing with a lot of gatekeepers as well, no?
Yes. But you will end up closing more deals.
Okay. I'll think
This,
about it.
it still works out. You can take a lot more calls on real estate, but your conversion rate will be much higher on med spa, and it's a lot like you can take a lot more money because med spa, one of the qualifications or barriers to entry is how much money you got in the bank because of how expensive the equipment is. Real estate, you need about 90 IQ, and you pass the test, and then you can go sell houses.
Yeah.
I'm telling Mehmet to go into med spa.
But that's killer. You should go into a niche with that.
Yeah, med spa. Hey, anything big, I would stay away from real estate. It's just you're dealing with retards.
So you're saying go to med spa, yeah? Alright. I'll check it out.
And I'm sure the homosexual med spa people will love you.
Fuck that. Fuck that.
They can groom you in their head.
I mean, if they've got some nice ladies, I don't mind.
Dirty pervert. So now, last question will go to Alvaro, and then we're going to go into theory.
Yeah, no, it's about what you're saying. So, would you recommend to avoid real estate?
I recommend English as a first language, or at least getting it to that point. Yeah. Real estate is amazing. No, now, this is for the community, everyone here. I recommend, right, on the basis that you have time, everybody go into real estate. Like everyone go into real estate because you can fully book your calendar. You with ease, you can book a whole day's worth of sales and just close everyone and don't collect the money. Because you can just practice sales calls on these motherfuckers like back to back to back. Easiest ways to get your sales skills up, and they are the hardest to close because so many of them are retarded, and those that aren't retarded are trained on sales. So like you're fighting two demons there. I just don't recommend it because service delivery is a bitch because it is so dependent on the real estate agent. Make sense?
Yeah.
But great way. Like honestly, if you do want to make money, real estate does work. It's just not an automatable niche compared to the rest of them. And Zach can automate med spa to shit. I know Zach has automated it. Matt, do you have another question?
Oh no, my hands is up.
I was gonna say. Mr. Lee, can you sit up right in your chair, please? Yeah. Center of camera, please. Yeah, there we go. Thank you very much. Wonderful. Now, me having said that, I'm going to be stopping this. Leave the most of you. So let's get into a little bit of theory.
Can we see? Sorry, can we see my cold calling?
Yes, I was joking. I was gonna go onto your cold calling right now.
Oh man, I don't know.
It's just downloading. Got it. It's open.
Hello. Hey, is this Wayne?
Okay, doesn't sound too bad so far. Let's share it for the world to see.
Yes. Great. This is Sam. Hello. Hey, is this Wayne?
Good.
Yes. Great. This is Alvaro. I got your information from Realtor.com. Do you have a minute?
I don't like that intro at all, but that's fine.
Well, maybe just a minute. Maybe just a minute. No, of course. Yeah, no problem. So we are currently partnering up with agents in the area of Cleveland. Can I tell you what we do? It would take actually 25 seconds only. Okay. Great. So as we both know, the biggest pain point in real estate are getting enough leads and making sure those leads are quality. Now, my team and
What the fuck did you say?
25 seconds only. Okay. Great. So as we both know, the biggest pain point in real estate are getting enough leads and making sure those leads are quality. Now,
You understand that?
Oh.
Yeah, the people tell me that. So getting enough leads and making sure those leads are quality.
now my team and I have developed a strategy which means more quality.
I would change it just to make it easier on the tongue. Getting enough leads that don't end up being time wasters. It'll be easier on your tongue to say. Try that. Getting enough leads that don't end up being time wasters.
Quantity written anyone else I know of. And then we have an ISA team that actually nurtures and pre-qualifies those leads for you. So you don't have to focus, you can focus on what really matters. That's the closing. And yeah, the leads have a clear motivation, they are not targeted with other agents, they have a realistic budget, and so on. And obviously, all is on a performance basis. Does it make sense to you, Wayne?
Sure, that's what I've done for 34 years.
Yeah, perfect. So look, I don't want to give you all the details now because the call will get a little longer than expected, but I wanted to see if you have maybe 15 minutes this week. I can show you how it works, and well, if you like it, you can implement it yourself. That's what you get for free. Or if we both like each other, makes sense, well, we could potentially partner up. So yeah, would you have maybe 15, 25 minutes if you ask me some questions, maybe tomorrow or next day?
Sure.
Yeah, so tomorrow, when is a good time tomorrow for you?
Alvaro, do you have an issue with your show up rate?
Not actually, no.
It's a good call. The only thing I would change, I don't like your script. The only thing I would change is make sure that you use words that are easy for you to pronounce.
Okay.
And the only additional thing, if I myself were you, is I would make a joke that I sound like a Hispanic Mexican, but rest assured the rest of the team doesn't.
Well, I didn't get that.
So I would make a joke about your own accent, right? To say, don't worry, the ISA team, they don't sound like me. They habla English perfectly fine.
Okay.
Right? The whole it's to throw them off. Right? Whenever I do cold calling, I get bored and I will just make people laugh like this. Like the amount of people that laugh, because my intro will just be something retarded. Yeah. The amount of times I've said, can I get 15 seconds or should I go fuck myself? Yes. And generally just thrown off. You know, granted, I'd say a lot worse than that, depending on my mood. Right? But there are times I've said, or should I just accept that I'm a disappointment the same way my parents told me or some shit like this? Right? It throws them off and a curveball that makes you a lot more interesting than everybody else. And that's the only thing I right? Like
Okay, man, thank you.
Had an Asian guy and he would add into his cold calling on how he promises not to disappoint the prospect on the sales call like he disappointed his parents. Right? Worked very nicely.
Functionality was good, right?
I love how you said something was good, but what did you say? Your
tonality was
your end tonality.
No. And tonality was good. And like and.
Yes, it was what it needs to be, which is the gay homosexual.
Okay.
Genuinely, when it comes to cold calling, you want to come across as somebody who is there to help at all needs. The tonality that works best with cold calling is I'm here to help you. Like you know the flight attendants. Right? That's the vibe that you want. You don't want aggressive you don't want to be aggressive on cold calling. And people want to see you as interesting and want to speak with you later. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
And how many sales calls are you booking daily from cold calling?
If I cold call, around 4, 5, maybe 6.
There we go. Yeah, wonderful. Adrian. Adrian. Okay, no question from Adrian. Now, last question. I want a question from Andrew, and then we can get into theory.
Yeah, it's actually Sam. I'm on a different phone, basically. I think in terms of the question, all the times when I'm calling, it's a very quick kind of cut point, but I believe you answered it before, really, so I don't have any questions.
Yeah, so you have to think of a question.
Okay.
Without saying please.
Sure. I think what would be the best way to talk to people in the tree care niche, so landscaping? Is it still changing the tonality, or is it more of a flat tone?
You want to do one of two things. Now, are you talking in regards to outreach or in the sales school?
Outreach.
Casual, nice, casual, not an asshole. Right.
Okay.
The less you sound like you're in sales, the better you will do. And you need to come across that the bulk of people, or a good percentage of people that will book in with me, is simply because I'm interested. Right? Like, I've hit them with so many fucking curveballs. They don't know who the fuck they're speaking with. They're very confused with the whole call. They get the gist. Now they really want to see what I'm going to do next. Right? Like, I will act like, not accidentally. Like, there's been times I've just outrageously flirted and implied so many things on a 2-minute like cold call.
Sure.
And just shit, like, it's not what they expect. And as such, the show up rate is much higher and the booking rate is much higher. You need to come across as someone who's interesting and not sales.
Okay, understood.
And one big thing that makes a big difference is locality. When you mention locality on outreach, it makes a very big difference to the conversion rate. It's a few more seconds work, whether it's through DMs, email, and cold calling. Locality makes a difference. Now, obviously, if you get it wrong, it's gonna have a fucking counter effect. Locality.
Sure. Okay, thanks.
Okay, and then Adrian.
Yeah, so is the tonality that you recommend, which is this basically changing tonality, is that okay with roofing since they're more intellectual?
Roofing is accidentally intellectual, right? The reason for it is just everything is so expensive to do a roof. So they are intellectual buyers. They are not when I say intellectual, I do not mean finance, bro. You know the finance bros.
Right.
There's no correlation there. Intellectual buy literally means they don't have an emotional reaction to you saying.
Okay, got it. So it still works basically.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You don't have to talk like you're gonna stick up your ass. Just
right.
Wonderful. Now, let's go into some of the theory. Feel free to raise your hand and disturb my theory discussion with your questions. Alright, over here I was explaining wonderful maths to people. This is a bit of calculated. Right, now, so we're going to go into the wonderful law that is negotiation. Nah, I don't have my special pen. Negotiate. Okay, you guys know what I'm saying. Negot. Nice. So this means negotiation. Now, before we get into this, some people tell me, what do we need to consider when negotiating? You're all gonna get it wrong, but feel free to try. Jimber, wonderful. Thank you for raising your hand, Jimber. What do we do? Tell me about negotiating. Janber.
Yes, just call me Jan.
Yes, Janber. So tell me, what do we do when it comes to negotiating?
I don't know. I just recently joined the course. It's like 3 days ago.
You never fucking negotiated in your life?
Like, what do you mean?
What do you need to consider when negotiating? Take a guess.
Like to get the people to the pain, or to just evaluate the pain?
No. Dennis.
Yes. When it goes to negotiation, I don't know. I would probably say something along lines like know what you want to get from it, maybe, and like stay for your own. Maybe set some. I don't want to call it goals, but maybe some rules or some boundaries, and then like, go from it and like stay on your own, maybe.
Very good. That's actually a very good answer. Now we're going to take a side note. Ruben, are you bigger than Zach?
In size?
Pardon?
In size?
Yes, in size.
Hold on.
Come on, we got to stay strong. You got the genetics for it, so we need you to be bigger than Zach. He's a white man. Yeah, come on.
I'll get
Ruben,
it.
tell me about negotiation.
Negotiation, I would say, I think, I'm not sure if I heard the other person correctly, but sticking to what you have, being concrete with your price or deal or whatever you've got going on, and just straight haggling. You don't try to shift too much.
Okay. Now we're going to do one more. Sarah. Right. Wonderful hand raise. Sarah, what do you want to add to us?
How deep their pain is and profit, how much profit they make.
Technically, yes, but that's not what we're going for. So, now, let's go over here. Let me get, no, I don't want a fucking template. Fuck off. So, we're going to come with 9 different points when it comes to negotiating. 9 things that we have to recognize and realize. Now, I'm going to work with a few, then we're going to work together. Everyone's IQ is going to be combined, and hopefully we're going to get to a fucking 100 as an average. And then, hopefully, we'll have 9 things that we can work on. Now, one example that you need to understand is offers, right? Okay, but before I get into this, this is what I mean by this. So, we're going to have one big square here. This is, as someone else put it, boundaries, right? This is what you will accept and what you want to accept. But in order to know what you will and won't, you need to understand it from a base root. Where can I go? Where am I comfortable going? What am I doing? It comes all the way back to what I was previously saying on the call on Monday, which is you need to understand the value of everything that is being said and being provided and what you can provide and what that means, right? So I need to understand offers, all the different types of pricing offers or structures to how I offer what I do and how they work for the clients. As an example, they may be not able to afford the highest quality of lead. Let's say it's a face-to-face appointment. So I'm going to say, perfectly fine. We're going to book them on a phone call with you and we're going to charge you less. Same amount of leads, lower quality, we're going to do it like that, right? Or we're going to do live transfer, right? So we can do live transfer, booked appointment, give you just the leads, organize a face-to-face, get their address, whatever it may be. I need to recognize that I can offer all of these, and depending on who I'm speaking to, I will know that certain prospects only want the fucking creme de la creme. I will only offer them the best, and as such, I need to adjust my pricing to that best because that's what I'm offering them, right? Others may not be able to afford it, so cool. Let me go to this offer. They went, let's say you got 5 ways to make an offer or to offer your service, right? If they say no to this, you need to be able to go into what the other things that you can offer, the other structures that you can have, right? Now, next thing is pricing. What is my max pricing? What is my minimum pricing? Now, people think that's all that it takes. You need a lot more than that. You need to understand the metrics behind the pricing. So you need to look at, firstly, what is a low conversion for me? So what is the lowest end that I can be getting results on a client if it doesn't go well? How many appointments will I sell from this from those appointments? What is the show up rate? From the show up rate, what of those leads are qualified? And from that, what is my client likely to close or not likely to close? Now, based on that low end, let me figure out 10% of the margins, 30% of the margins, and divide that from those appointments, right? And now, when things are going really well, the formula is still the same, but I'm changing the metrics on their conversion rate, the show up rate, because I now have a nurturing system. I have put in a system where at the day of the call, I've got a VA that calls the lead, which increases the show up rate, which then changes all of the maths. So the closing rate is going to go higher. So my value for those 10 appointments is going to change, right? And what is it, 10 to 30% on that one? Where's my fluctuation? Now, at the same time, I need to take into consideration who my prospect is, right? So when they are top, whatever the fuck they are, depending on their niche, their close rate is going to be higher. So the value of what I'm doing is now higher, right? In contrast to on the low end. I'll give an example to this. I can be the best chef in the world, but if I give my food to a bulimic individual, right, my food is fucking useless. I could have the most highest nutrition food, but if someone is bulimic, that's the people who go after they eat, right? There is no nutritional benefit in what I do, right? To the same degree, I could have the highest quality leads, but if my prospect, and I know my prospect isn't going to close all of them, I need to adjust my offer if possible, if I take them on board to the pricing that would work for them, because I know they're not going to close at the highest conversion rate, right? Making the value of what I'm doing not entirely there. Now, at that point, it's not my fault, it's their fault, but regardless, I need to be sending based on the value that is being provided. So I need to understand what is my pricing. How can I actually price things? Where can I go? Where's my top? Where's my bottom? I'm not moving from there. Now, there will be extremes, right? From what your bottom is, what your top is. Now, what you do not do is go at the top and end up on the bottom. Depending on the prospect, you need to pick a range of where you're comfortable to move. You're either on the higher end, you're on the lower end, right? But you can't go, I'm going to charge $1,000 per lead to 100, because then you're going to seem like an absolute spastic. Because how the fuck did you go all the way from one to the other? So you need to read your prospect and negotiate with that limit in mind, right? Now, these are two. We're going to take some questions, and I want some more things. What else needs to be understood here, right? So, Dennis. Dennis.
Oh, sorry, do you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. You said with the offers, if I understand it correctly, you prepare like 3 offers that work, and then you like kind of adapt it to the person, like based on the answers and what type of person it is.
At scale, you can't do that. In the beginning, you can. The whole
Okay.
point, you need to understand how you can move. What moves can you do? If it's Mortal Kombat, you look like a person who's played Mortal Kombat before, right? What combinations can I press in order to get the results that I want?
Okay, okay. Yeah, I was thinking because I was thinking if you like combine too many things, it can maybe backfire to you and you would sound like stupid person.
No, you don't combine, you choose. You have an
okay,
option,
okay. Yeah,
right?
I understand.
You need to understand. The whole point is you need to understand what is negotiation. What does that entail in totality or full form? And then you need to be able to select what you want depending on who you speak to.
Okay.
As in me, with any of my business models, I know the structure inside out. I built it, right? So I know where I can go and where I can't go. But you have to have an understanding of what you can and what you can't do before you do it, or else you're going to step into a position where you're charging way too high a price or way too low a price.
Understand.
Not good places to be.
Okay.
Like short term higher, of course, but it's not fruitful long term. Mr. Le. Is it Lee or Le?
Lee.
I had a feeling. You're missing an E. So, Mr. Lee.
Is there any way where like I can rewatch this call because I've got to leave for school in like a minute?
Of course you can. Jess records everything.
Oh, okay.
So send Jess a DM on Instagram, compliment her photos, and I'm sure she's gonna, send it over to you. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Sufyan.
Ismail, yeah, so this question kind of builds on what Dennis was saying, but in terms of when you were talking about the pricing, and you change the pricing, and depending on what people can afford, you just not take guesses, but assume from the discovery call, from the questions they give you, maybe how much they're making, maybe how much revenue, profit, etc., and then you base what you charge them on the questions that they have, or do you use like a baseline to anchor the pricing?
You need to have an understanding of what they're willing to pay. The fact is, now I've broken this down in the past, I break it down now. None of you really give a shit. As long as there's money that ends up in your piggy bank at the end of the month, the 95% of you couldn't give two fucks with what amount you've charged, what value you've charged. As long as you've taken money out of someone's bank account, you don't really care. Sofyan, is that true?
More or less at the moment, yeah.
There we go. If you've given someone a $1 million worth lead and they've slapped you 5K for it, which doesn't match the value you've given, are you going to give a shit?
If it's $1 million lead, then kind of, but at this point, probably not.
You'll take your 5K and you'll be fucking happy with it, realistically.
Probably. Yeah.
If you structure that. So you guys need to look at it based on what you want for entrepreneurship. The bulk of you, your first target is 10K. Now, you don't make 10K from one client. Okay, you will in the future. You won't now. Right? As such, think you can do your pricing based on how do I want to hit my metrics. Right? I'm happy being at 10K with 10 clients, so on and so forth, and you do that to judge your leads or to base the pricing of your leads. Right? And now I don't recommend you do that, but take what I'm saying as an indication to you can charge them whatever the fuck you want. On the basis that they're willing to pay for it, you charge whatever the fuck you want. But now we need to take into consideration what is their closing rate, what is their history, how bad do they really want it, and how do they see me, because that will dictate how much they're willing to pay for it. Right? Now, don't get me wrong. I review one of your calls and you could have taken more money. I'm going to bollock you for it. Right? So don't be scared to ask for money, but recognize that you need to look at the individual across the screen, right? And charge more. The amount of times I've just charged people way the fuck more because I knew I could. Right? A great example is one-time consultations. Right? Now, it's a 1 hour of my time as an example. Right? There's no tangible way for me to do a gauge. I can do it based on the value that I'm giving. So depending on the complexity of the answer that I'm solving, yeah, I can judge it based on that. I can also judge it based on someone's bank account. Right? And I have an addiction to just getting their number to zero. So I'll just get what are all the figures and the decimals, and I'll just bring that the fuck down to zero. Right? Why? Because I want their money and I don't want them to have money. Yeah. So it doesn't necessarily matter how much you charge. You just can't undercut yourself. That's the biggest thing, because you need the business to operate. Right? And recognize that the more you do charge, as long as it sticks to the fair market value, and what I mean by that is on the basis that all your leads are good, your client still makes money, you're perfectly fine. Right? And then the more that you do charge, the easier your life gets, because you can get VAs, like literally one VA that reconfirms appointments at the time of the appointment being scheduled, one day before, very similar to a Go High level messaging sequence, but it's on a group chat, and 1 hour before will drastically improve the show up rate on calls. That's going to drastically improve the conversion rate that your clients are going to receive. That's going to drastically improve the relationship you have with your clients. They can manage about 10 fucking clients. Yours also going through the roof, and you just allocated a bit more money because you had a bit more money in the bank. Right? That's on the basis you didn't blow out on strippers. Where'd you live, Sofyan?
London.
Yes. Anyways, wonderful. So, we're cutting it close for time. So we'll do Thursday. Perfect. Tomorrow I'm going to be focused purely on negotiations. I'm going to break down all the points of negotiations. You have to understand what can you do before you do anything. Right? You need to understand what is my product, what is the value, what is the purpose. Now, when I swap or change the variables to my offer, why am I doing this? It's because it's with an intellectual buyer. They don't want dog shit. They want a premium. I will send them a lot less at a premium. Let's say a premium is getting their address and organizing a face-to-face. I'll get way less, but they'll be able to convert at a much higher rate. So I'm going to charge them a premium rate for that home address. So on the basis that the show up as a face-to-face meeting, all you have to do is get an address. You have to change the script, get an address, and get a time and date to meet. Get that booked in, get that organized. You can charge a premium on those appointments because the face-to-face is there, due to the fact that it's one step closer to the deal closing. Right? Because when it's a phone call appointment or a live transfer, they will lose people just on circumstance, happenstance, and shit calls. Conversion rate will be much higher at face-to-face appointments, so the maths works out. Does that make sense? But then you have to look at the prospect. Now, on the basis that it's a brand new fucking person, you don't do that. Right? Because they're not going to close high. Yes, they'll close at a better rate, but they won't be able to afford the premium. right? So you may want to offer them a package which is more for that, like more and a lesser price point per appointment. Make sense? But you have to look at the person that you're speaking with, and one of the big things with that is also from the 2 points that we brought up now. There's a lot more to bring up. Pricing. You need to know how much someone's got and how much they value it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah.
Wonderful. Alvaro.
Yeah, so tomorrow I have some sales call and I want to apply your psychological script that you use, but I don't fucking know anything of it. I don't if you put me on a sales call, I don't know how to start. So would you recommend me a video from your course to see before tomorrow?
Yeah, watch the more advanced ones, not advanced ones, watch the add-on ones. Right? You can watch all of them, they're not that long. Like I don't try to put in filler and like waste people's fucking times with random like quotes. You can watch the bulk of them by tomorrow. Right?
Bulk of them?
The bulk meaning like many. You
Okay.
can watch what you need to do is you have to look at the videos and listen and then see how do I apply this? Under different circumstances, different variable changes, how would I apply this? And it's very similar to running game like in your brain, like game theory in your brain, and just looking at different variables and just having fun with that. Right? One big thing that I do a lot is before I do borderline any situation, I would have run it in my brain multiple times. I give myself all the worst case situations and just the different fields that I could play down. And what it means is I'm like well prepared for the worst case scenario. And it's never the worst case scenario, right? So it's always better than that. But then just running theory through your head on different deals, structured negotiations, how to structure stuff, and your brain will just quickly get used to quickly doing it.
Okay, thank you.
Wonderful. Lewis, hi. You take notes as reminders. Could you remind me something?
Sure.
Just in case I forget, can you just remind me later that 85% of the people here are disappointments?
Why is that?
Sure.
15% are solid, but 85% pure fucking disappointments.
Why is it?
Who said why?
Me. Am I included in the 85%?
What do you think? What's your closing rate?
Well, I've only closed one client so far.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's been a wonderful call. And then I'll see you guys on the calls later. One other thing, please expect me to just call your phone randomly. As I'm going to get acclimatized speaking to all of you one-to-one to just fix your mindset, the way that you view life and sales. Right?
All right.
And
Nice.
I might give you guys a calendar to book that in. I just need to clear out some times for my life, which are quite busy, and offload some work. And then I want to be speaking with all you guys one-to-one. And it's not going to be fun. I'm going to make some of you cry. But, we're here to get results, so I don't really give a shit. Wonderful. Guten Tag, verbatim. Remember, Black Lives Matter. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.